Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order for May 20th, 2013. And if you would, please all rise for prayer. Pastor Snap will open the prayer for us.
Pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for each person here. We ask your blessing upon this meeting. May the manner in which it is conducted and the results that it produces be in agreement with your guidance and consistent with the teachings of your word. Bless the commissioners and all who take part with wisdom and with skill. Provide direction and opportunity for them to express and exercise the desire to serve the citizens of Tipton County. Let this meeting lead to the fulfillment of earthly plans for our community, which are wise, fair, and workable. And may it also work together with the purposes which you have ordained. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Now let's say the pledge to the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would, thank you, Pastor. If you would, turn off your phones or turn the ringers down. Payroll.
Higher because of the treasurer's part-time help for the tax time. There was about a little over $2,000 for that. But the total payroll for May 24th, 2013 is $129,573.69.
No questions?
I'll make a motion, we pay payroll for check date 5/24/2013 in the amount of $129,573.63.
Second. We have a motion second on the floor to pay the payroll for May 24th, 2013 in the amount of $129,573.69. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Claims?
Total claims is $194,983.62.
No change from what you sent the email, was it?
Nope.
I'll make a motion, we pay claims for the date 5/20/2013 in the amount of $194,983.62.
Second. We have a motion second on the floor to pay today's claims in the total amount of $194,983.62. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Guys, we got about 20 people sitting out in the hall. We can't hear you. Can you use a microphone, please?
We are using the microphone. Right here.
We can't hear you. Can you set the speaker up outside the door?
Something we have to do if we hear someone.
Put the speaker outside the door?
Greg's calling.
Greg's calling.
We have a separate docket to pay Tipton Municipal Utilities for a communication center in the jail for a total of $2,563.80.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I move we approve the bill to Tipton Municipal Utilities for the jail for $2,563.80.
Second.
We have a motion second on the floor to pay the claim today for the utilities at the jail, $2,563.80. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Morning, John.
Mike, Bill has told me there's not sufficient cable to run, he doesn't have a long enough cable to run the speaker into the hallway.
Okay.
They can put another row of seats in.
No, they can't get out of here in case
I like it.
yeah.
There's one seat over here.
Fire marshal, and they'll throw us all out.
We have another separate docket to pay the Tipton County Treasurer for our county-owned property taxes for $1,312.66.
And I move we approve the Commissioner's budget to pay property taxes $1,312.66.
Second.
We have a motion, a second on the floor to pay a property tax claim on behalf of the county for $1,312.66. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Our last docket is for veteran for the Communications Center for $29.32.
We approve the utility to build a vector for the communication center for $29.32.
Second.
We have a motion, second on the floor to pay today's claim of $29.32 for the Communications Center to Vector. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Either he's in there.
I think he's in here. Brett? Yeah, we're ready for highway.
All right.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a permit for boring for new service across 600 South. It's for Duke Energy. 892 feet west of 900 West. Sun Communications is the contractor.
So is this request from Duke?
Yeah.
Is that a new numbering system?
2013-09 should be the next.
I don't know, I just picked up from what I
Yeah,
learned.
it's
about it.
13-09.
Yes.
Forgot the 20. You want it 20 or just 1309? Or do you?
It don't make
It's
any
your
difference to
numbers.
me. I just picked up where it was left off from last year.
I move we approve the highway cut permit number 13-09 for Duke Energy at 600 South and 892 feet west of 900.
No highway cut, it's a boring, directional boring, so we can do it for the rest.
All right.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, second on the floor to grant permit 13-09 to Duke Energy for directional boring, 600 south west of 900 north. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then I have a drainage structure request for Bill Paul on 300 South.
Does that require a permit too?
There's no place for a number or anything. I don't think so. I think it's just, everybody
So that's
signs it and it's just an agreement. So
I saw that in reading that. What, are you upsizing that pipe or putting a second pipe?
putting a second pipe in. And everybody signed off on it, everything. I guess we just need you guys' signature on this. It's just to the west of 200 West.
What size is that?
15-inch.
We have a motion.
I move we approve the drainage structure request for Bill Paul on 300 South.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second on the floor to grant this permit request on an upgrade to a culvert pipe on 300 South. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
You need to see him.
I'll catch you.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
The
Anybody
public
got a question?
Speak to you.
Okay, I'll stick around.
Okay.
The public assistance report's due tomorrow, right, for the flood?
We're third on the list for them to come in and start assessing our stuff.
It is scheduled for this week.
Yes.
Do you have any?
It'll probably be tomorrow before they get to us.
I think they retired county today.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think there's any way they'll get to us today.
Okay, kind of a number just for the county?
As far as our part, probably 50,000.
I heard this morning that from Chuck, thought the county expense was gonna be in the neighborhood of 480,000.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what the city's was gonna do, but ours is probably the 50, maybe 60,000. Something like that.
Hey, Brett, do we know when that telephone installation is gonna be done, that dirt turf building? Who's running that out there now?
It should be, they should be getting pretty close to wrapping up.
I
would
had
think.
a person from Prairie Acres call me and would like for him to kind of clean up the wire spools and stuff back in there. And then I had another person contact me that would like to lease it as soon as that company gets done with it.
Okay,
That
I can try to
lot-
find out.
The lot will need sprayed too, once they get all their stuff out there, because there's trees and.
Right.
You might want to spray it before, yeah, you might want to spray it before their stuff gets out.
Yeah.
And if you'll, you know who to get a hold of?
Yeah, I think so.
So there are a couple of those Prairie Acre peoples that would kind of like it's cleaned up a little, it's in their backyards.
We mowed it the lot up there last week, and yeah, we can get it cleaned up, as far as spraying and stuff. That was in the agreement that they cleaned up and stuff, so I know they got a lot of spools and quite a bit of that, pieces of orange ductwork up
Yeah,
there.
that's what they're hollering about.
Yeah.
Do they have a lease or is it a month to month?
It was a lease, but I think it's month to month now, isn't it? And are we getting a payment from them?
Not that I'm aware of, but I have not seen a payment come through that I'm aware of.
How do we know when people do pay us? I mean, like the
Well,
farm ground
we
lease, are we
usually-
getting money there too?
We usually get checks.
I checked on that.
Yeah, I haven't, I haven't quite used the personally, so I don't have personal knowledge of checks.
We
That doesn't mean that. they have-
definitely need to be contacted if they're still using that, they need to be paying their lease.
Right. I know the fellow that I dealt with, he retired. So I still got some contact numbers for him. I'll get a hold of him and find out how much longer they'll leave the building and then.
Greg should have who we're getting from too, so we need to get a hold of them and find out what's going on.
Yeah, okay. Any other questions?
Thanks, Brett.
Okay, thank you.
Bill?
Good morning.
Morning.
First of all, Bridge 61, which is on 400 North, east of Windfall over at Irwin Creek. I would like to have the board set bid dates for that. At your first meeting in July, which I believe is the 1st, correct?
July 1st?
And if that's the case, then also we would advertise it on the 14th and the 21st of June.
July 1st.
With anticipated construction starting probably by August 1st and then done by middle of September.
You just want a motion to set the bid date for right now then?
Yes.
Then I'll make a motion, we set the bid date for Tipton County Bridge Structure Number 61, which is at 600 North over Irwin Creek, for July the 1st.
Second.
Did you say that was on 400 north?
Yeah, 400 north.
No, what is it?
You said 600 north.
Oh, I can't read. Is that dyslexia?
No, that's just an error, that's 400 on that paper.
400 North.
Okay. You said that.
Yes.
We have a motion second to set the bid date for July 1st, 2013 for Bridge 61 on 400 north east of Windfall at Irwin Creek. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And to let you know, I'm meeting with one of the property owners out there today, Mr. Heath, who has the property on the north side. Just to get his right of entry and signature, just wants to make sure that they're getting ready to plant. We're not going to be disturbing any area that they're going to plant, so I think we're fine there. To let you know, from my report, you guys saw that small structure, WI 5005, which is on County Road 800 East between us and Madison County, that was completed last week, and everything's done. The only thing that needs to happen now is the road needs to be chip sealed, but everything was done. A.K. Shannon and Associates installed that, and Madison County paid for the installation. We only have 5 pipe. It looks really good. The next structure, the small structure CI 4077, which is on County Road 200 East, between County Road 200 North and 150 North. Shannon, A.K. Shannon was the low quoter on that structure. They will move in next week and start tearing that structure out, close the road as of Tuesday. Also, the pipe molded plate will be delivered, and the supplier CPI will start putting that together. And it will take about 4 days to put it together. It's about 100 feet long, very big structure. Landfill. I'm going to head out there after this meeting to see how our gentleman is doing on installing the fence and see how that's going on. Also, I've received updated proposals for the groundwater monitoring and the oversight of the landfill or the wetland treatment facility. Next fall, we have to, the permit application, we have to resubmit it again, so it's coming up. So there's some additional testing parameters that are going to need to be done for that. So Cardinal ETC, their proposal to us is it's going to provide another $3,000 additional, which they think we can work in the exact budget that we had for them, but they're going to be showing that in this proposal, and that's for submitting for the next, I think it's 5 years for the water, the discharge permit that we have out there.
What's changing with the sampling?
Nothing's changing. We're still sampling the same. It's just that when we originally did the permit, we based it on information from like 10 years previous of what was in the water and or in the leachate, and we at that point in time had done a full analysis, and that full analysis hasn't been done for about 15 years now. And so it is Cardinal's agency's belief that in order to get the permit renewed, we're going to have to do this.
Does Cardinal just pull the samples and then send them to the lab?
Yeah, they send it to Pace, and they do the testing for us. But Cardinal pulls the, so,
This is driven by IDEM.
yeah, EPA.
Is there an end point to spending money on this?
21 more years.
Okay, Thank you.
Just had to ask you, it just seems like it started when I was about 4 and it's still going on.
Yeah, this is all part of our post-closure period, which is 30 years. So, I don't know if I'll see the end of it, so we shall see. The parking lot out here. I'd like to tell you we had good news, but I don't. We are submitting a report from the last, where they did the additional mooring and everything. However, they did find contaminated soils again. So they're gonna submit the report to IDEM in the hopes to see what IDEM says, but the likelihood is IDEM's gonna come back and say, we want further test sites, even farther to the south and to the east, where it looks like they're, just see which we may have to go on the other side of the street to do that. We'll find out later this year, probably in the September timeframe. Just letting you know, they want to know if we wanted to go ahead right now and do the things. They can know, submit it to IDEM, let them mull it over for a while, and come back to us and see what IDEM says. So the report is being submitted, I think, by the end of this week. IDEM by Cardinal PC.
Are we this might be a question for John, are we the only ones that had exposure there since we just happen to be the current owner?
Can't remember exactly how we purchased that. I remember we purchased that, I don't know if we purchased it with a reservation or not.
I don't think we purchased it with any reservation. I think it was just a straight purchase, and hence the problem. I remember years ago, we talked about going back to the original
Right.
title company, the original insurance company, all those type of things. I don't think any of that's,
No, we haven't done that because we didn't know the extent of the contamination. When we first did the monitoring, we didn't know what the extent was. We're trying to give an idea now how much the contamination is.
If we go across the street to the east with another test well, how do we know where the contamination originated?
I can't answer that. That's something I have. And that's the thing, Morgan Saltgiver, who is the point person for Cardinal Agency, is more than happy to come up and meet with you guys and talk to you about the situation and answer those type of questions. I mean, that's stuff, those would be my questions too. I'm still trying to get it in my head, why, is it just runoff from vehicles, everything like that instead of the parking lot, things like that, versus really this leaking underground storage tank that caused the problem. I still have stuff, I'm wrapping my head around that, so I'm more than happy to set that up, and she said anytime in the next month or so, if you guys want to just have an informal meeting with her, we'll do that.
I'm willing to wait, like you've suggested, until IDM looks it over and gives direction on where they want to go with it.
Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay. County Road 560 East, we have tentative or verbal acceptance on all our offers for the right-of-way.
That's 560 West, right?
Excuse me, 560 West. I got stuck on the east side of the county. Yes, 560 West, the extension. We did, last week, we met with NDOT, myself, and Brett and Sherry went out there to discuss schedule and everything. We have to have the right-of-way cleared by July 19th is the drop date, that dead date for that. We don't see that as a problem. Everything's on schedule. Plans are being uploaded to NDOT's website, which are the final check prints before tracing and stuff. So once the right-of-way gets cleared, we're still, I believe, on schedule for a December let for that project.
Say December?
Yes. also, I've looked at about 4 different sites for the surveyor's office, as well as the highway department. County Road, 300 East Market Road, or 300 West, 300 East Market Road intersection there where you guys authorized the pipe to go in. That was installed, 18-inch was installed, and everything looks great out there. So hopefully that will take care of that situation. There are a couple of pipes on the western part of the county that we've looked at, and I've sized some pipes for the farmers, and Jason is going to be buying those pipes from other, some account that he has for basically, and I think one of them, it's Division Road and about 1100 West out there. And so, and a couple other ones we've been looking at, the situation up on 400, or, yeah, it is.
300 north?
300 north, yes. We've got tentative approval by the property owner on the north side of the road to put the pipe across, but we need to put a tile in for about, 50, 75 feet. And he said if we do that, it's fine. So just take care of the flood problem that was created out there, so.
Did you talk to the homeowner on the south?
Not yet. So, that is it for me. Any questions for the board?
You got here on Division Road, Main Street, you're waiting for us to approve, to put the signs up as per recommendation?
Yeah.
Then I will make a motion that we instruct the highway department to install the additional warning signs as per the survey and drawing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second on the floor to move forward with signage on Division Road at Main Street. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Will
Is
you
it-
get with Brenda?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I'm gonna ask the city to buy the cross-traffic does not stop, that would be installed in their stop sign,
Good.
which is, I believe, so I'll work with them on that. We're not gonna install the more expensive lighted signs at this point in time, is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
That is good.
Okay.
Have you, since the NDOT's announcement on the 2031 interchange, have you had any talks with NDOT on what they plan to do with the Chrysler entrance?
It was, when we were out there last week, spoke with one of the project manager on State Road 20 at that point in time about the light that isn't installed right now, and said that all that needs to happen is that signal heads go up and be activated. The question then came up, are they still going to use that as their main entrance? Which I didn't know that answer yet.
Assume that's dictated by NDOT.
Yeah, I mean,
It
there's.
doesn't seem likely to me that they would have the one there where it's, and then again at 560.
Well, if they were gonna send everybody out on the 560, then we end up moving the light probably to 560, and there would not be one there.
Which would make more sense anyway.
Yes,
Okay.
which would be nice, but, and also, the light that was installed where it was at was based upon the length for ramps and stuff for the interchange and stuff. And to let you guys know, we're currently doing the survey work for NDOT for the interchange. So that work will be going on, so.
That's good.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Sheriff? Good morning.
We have 21 right now. And the only thing I have for you is I gave Joe a thumb drive. We got up on top of the building, the house, things like that. There's some issues you guys might want to be aware of. He can pass that along to you. I'm not computer literate enough to attach a picture and send it to everybody, so I put it on a thumb drive and take the show. That's all I have. You guys have anything?
Update on that?
I've got the thumb drive, some pictures of a building that's not very good shape,
That roof is in real bad shape.
and it's mostly, it's all on the house.
Mortar falling out of the chimneys and stuff like that.
What are the walls on that house to maintain it? Do we have to maintain it?
If you'd like to know the truth, I haven't asked because I'm afraid of the answer.
I'm sorry?
A building is on the historic register, has a bad, bad roof. What are our obligations for that building?
You do have to get, you've got to create what your design is going to be and how you're going to fix it, and get permission to fix it that way, make sure it's historically accurate. I think you've got to deal with the State Historical Society on that.
I think they've done that once before our term, so.
I don't presume Tipton has a historical officer, so probably has to be the State Historical Society.
Well, you know, just to add to that, the jail committee has a, has a subcommittee that's, their charge is what do we do with the old building if we build a new jail, or what do we do with the old house?
I think we got,
And those are people that are members of the Historical Society and work down there, so that's,
I think we got an estimate for that roof of what, 140-some thousand or something like that, just to repair that roof.
more than that.
I don't know, it's way up there, yeah. Okay, thanks.
That's all I have, and you guys can pass your pictures around.
Which are new vehicles?
Vehicles are on the road, last one being done down in Miller, and it should be out by the end of the week.
Good.
Thank you.
See you. John, is Brett Burnett out there?
Brett Burnett is not out here.
Okay. Check and see if Doug Heath's out there. Okay. If they're not, we'll just get our minutes out of the way.
We can do the minutes. Look,
Yeah, let's just do the minutes.
you read the minutes, Jim?
No, yeah. You did? You didn't get them electronically? I did.
No, I didn't.
That's on his way. He's not on the agenda tomorrow, so he's not here yet.
So is Doug coming today?
Doug is coming, yes.
Okay. Then we may have to, I can't test it.
Well, now some typos.
I'm
Surprised me.
He knows what it's not working on.
So, go read it. Could call Debbie here too.
What do we need her?
So,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I was just getting ready to ask you if you. We're working on the minutes here. We'll get that out of the way, yeah.
I don't see it.
Okay.
You okay?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes for May the 6th, 2013 with the topical correction.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor to approve May 6th minutes with minor corrections. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Yes, the minutes forced to sign documents. Sorry.
I'll keep trying. I'll get her down here soon.
You were there.
I can't, I just didn't.
That's right.
Linda?
Hi. I just come before you today. Our conference is coming up in August, and it's the 27th through the 30th of August. And I wanted to come before you to see if it would be okay for us to spend the evening. It's downtown again. We will be asking for 3 rooms. We'll double up, and Bob is now on the Peterborough, so he'll be going this year also. So I just want to get permission from you guys, so before we turn our reservations in.
What's the date of that?
August the 27th through the 30th.
You say Bob's going this year?
Pardon?
You say Bob's going this year?
Uh-huh.
Well-
Bob's our new member on our
We
property
can't-
tax
we can't
board of
update that.
appeals. So, but we just want permission to be able to spend the, and it'll be paid out of reassessment fund, but I just need you okay.
You could, you okay? Sure. And I'll make a motion, we allow the assessor's office, the Peterborough Board, to stay overnight in Indianapolis during their conference this fall, as normal. Second.
We have a motion second on the floor to grant permission to the assessor to attend, with employees to attend the assessor's conference August 27th through the 30th. Stay overnight. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Linda, is this a yearly thing?
Yeah, well, you go twice a year, January and August.
And you have no training line in your budget?
It is in
Reassessment.
Comes out of the
reassessment.
assessment.
That is where most of all this is paid out of, is a reassessment fund.
All right, I just thought, well, it'd just be, if you just budgeted for it. but-
We do. We
but not-
budget
but
for,
not in a training line. Because
I think
if it was
it's-
in a training line, you
Travel
would-
conference and registration.
travel, conference, and nursing.
so she really wouldn't have to come to us.
The only reason she comes is that the distance traveled is less than 50 miles, so she comes to ask permission to stay overnight.
Oh, and that's just.
Because we have it's a policy change that allows them to stay overnight.
No, the conference itself, we pay, it's just the overnight stay.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Uh-huh.
Brett Gurnett, Pork Festival.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
You're ahead of schedule. I apologize for not being here at all. My mission today is twofold. First, as president of the Tipton County Pork Festival, this will be our 45th annual event in the Courthouse Square. We're very excited about some great changes and some enhancements, some new marketing promotion that's going to be occurring this year with Cumulus Radio and some other entities that will help bring the 100,000 plus more people to Tipton downtown for September 5th, 6th, and 7th of our festival timeline. This is an annual request to revisit the approval of county property on the courthouse square, which of course is the normal area layout. Our contract with the city is being prepared for its 3-year contract, which we'll renew next Monday with the Board of Works, with the Mayor's Board of Works. So we're looking forward and are well into great planning stages for the Tipton County Pork Festival, and ask for your approval for the 45th Annual Pork Festival to be on the courthouse square under county property.
And what's the dates of that?
September 5th, 6th, and 7th.
I'll make a motion, we grant the Pork Festival Committee the use of the county property for the Pork Festival for September the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Second.
I really need to make it a day ahead of time.
I was just gonna ask.
Well, yes, our
Really neat.
pre-setup starts really the Friday.
2 days ahead of that, aren't it? So
Yeah,
what day is that?
The 30th, I think, of August, is that right? Maybe the 31st of August. It's the
All right.
Friday prior to.
Starting the 31st of August through the festival, ending the 7th.
Thank you.
That's just an amendment, second.
Okay, I have a motion second on the floor then to grant permission to the Pork Festival Committee to use the county property from August 31st through September 7th for the 2013 Pork Festival. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The 5th is a Thursday, right?
That's the start of the first day, yes.
Okay, then, what will be the availability of the south parking lot then? Will it be?
The tents will start going up on Labor Day weekend, which is the prior weekend to
Okay,
5th, 6th,
so that's right, don't want to work Monday. So we're only going to be 4 days.
Yes. The second item that we want to appear before you commissioners is I'm now representing General Motors and Dan Young. For the 3rd year, General Motors has had a very successful visit with the Tipton County Pork Festival and the great sizable crowds that attend it. They have phenomenal response with the patrons of the Tipton County Pork Festival. This is one of their few events in the Midwest that they actually calibrate to the level of the visitation that occurs here. So they have asked once again, Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC have built into their budgets to join the Tipton County Pork Festival on the front lawn, as they have in the last 3 years, by your approval in the previous 2, to request that they be there from Thursday the 5th through Saturday the 7th. And then they will, of course, dismantle and exit, and their mark and footprint is very minimal, of course, as we found in the last 3 years. But they too have asked for that visit to be approved by the Board of Commissioners.
We park them on the sidewalks, don't they?
Yes, and very sensitive to, of
I'll make
course.
the motion, we grant Dan Young to set up their normal exhibit as in the past on the courthouse lawn.
On the sidewalks, right? We're not-
We're in the grass and the sidewalks. The cars are actually on the
Cars
sidewalk.
on sidewalk.
Okay, well,
Tents are on the ground.
okay,
Yeah.
everybody's on there. Second.
Motion is second on the floor to grant permission to General Motors and Dan Young to have their annual display at Pork Festival. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Brett. Doug Heath. Employee insurance. Morning, Doug.
Morning, everybody.
Did you come today to tell us our rates are going down?
No.
That's all we expect.
Okay, your rates are going down. We don't know when. There's just a few things I wanted to go over.
This is about a 1 to 2 hour deal, and I'm gonna condense it way down for you.
2 minutes.
Well, hopefully 20 to 30. I'll give your return. That applies to a large group. I'll just run through this as quick as I can. There's just a few things towards the back of this handout that the county really needs to be aware of as we prepare for January the 1st of 2014 and beyond. So if you just kind of start on page 3, there's a definition in there of what a large employer is, and obviously 50 or more. The thing that you need to know is there's 3 sets of rules out here, one for individuals, one set of rules for small group, which is 2 to 49, and then the 50 plus. So that's where the county is. So not the same rules for every employer. Only point there. On page 4, the only thing I wanted to point out there is that part of the Affordable Care Act requires employers to provide an exchange notice to their employees by October the 1st. It just is information about some federal programs. We think at this point that those exchanges are only going to be available to self-employed individuals and small group employees, not necessarily county employees, but we think the exchange notice is still going to have to go to everyone. So that's something that I'll get to you when the time comes. It's not something you're going to have to come up with on your own. So you will have that document. On page 5, another requirement due to the Affordable Care Act, what's called an SBC, or a summary of benefits and coverage. It has to be provided to every plan participant and every new enrollee into the plan. It's a document that the insurance carrier will create for you. It's about, it could be between 8 and 20 pages, and it's an expanded version of this is what your plan is, this is what it covers, here's your deductible, this is what a deductible is, this is what co-insurance is, here's your maximum out-of-pockets, and so on, and they take several pages to do that. So we will...
Does the county doesn't provide that now?
We do, and United Healthcare does. And it's something that you'll have via paper and electronic format. On page 6, there's a 60-day notice to make plan changes, and this really pertains to off your normal anniversary type changes. In other words, if we pick a plan to renew January the 1st and you decide for some reason you need to change the plan design in June or July or August, you would have to provide the employees with a 60-day written notice of a material plan change. It's never happened to us, the county, before. Wouldn't anticipate that happening. Some private employers get into it all of a sudden. They've had a money crunch or something and funds have dried up. They immediately try to go in and modify their plan to something that's more affordable. So good planning to take care of that feature. On page 7, that doesn't apply because the county doesn't have what's called a grandfather plan, so we can skip over that. On page 8, this notice of rescission is currently effective. Not necessarily would come into play in your situation, but on plans that are individually underwritten. So we really don't need to go into that. Page 9, patient protection notification and selection of providers. Just so you'll know what this is, this is mainly geared towards HMO and point-of-service products where an employee has to designate a primary care provider that directs their service throughout the network. The county does not have a point-of-service or an HMO product, obviously, at this point. So what you have is an open access PPO. So that's pretty much of a non-factor for us at this time. On page 10, these services that are listed there at the top, these bullet points, they're already incorporated into your plan. All the employees have a copy and are aware, or should be aware, that these items are covered, along with a whole litany of other items that are first dollar, anything wellness or preventative related. There's about a 2.5-page document on everything that's covered by the insurance company at 100%, not subject to deductible co-insurance or co-pays. So that's already in play. On page 11, $2,500 contribution limit for FSAs. That means flexible spending account, not to be confused with health savings accounts. That's pre-tax money used for dependent child care or medical or dental services outside the parameters of your HSA and your normal medical plan. I'm not sure that the county has it. The only reason we put this in here is because in the past, an employee could contribute up to $5,000 of their own money on a pre-tax basis, and now it's capped at $2,500 just for flexible spending accounts only, not HSA. On page 12, annual limits. Currently, restricted annual limits are in effect. The maximum that any insurance company can put on claims is $2 million for this year. Effective your next renewal in January of 14, all carriers are prohibited from placing annual limits and lifetime maximums. So whatever the claims are, they are. Nobody would ever run out of limit. So that's going to be coming into play. Page 13, the excessive waiting period. This is relative to new hires that are known full-time employees. Can impose a waiting period longer than 90 days, and this is what the county currently has. The county is in compliance and will remain in compliance. You can have their effective date first of the month following 90 days, which is what the county does. So you're already good in that regard.
Doug, back up just a minute on page 12. Now that there will be no limits on the amount of money that the insurance company has to spend on individuals, I assume that they've already done their due diligence in factoring in what this is going to actually cost and building that into our premiums. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, and actuaries guess 2 to 3%. You know, the larger insurance carriers have DRG agreements in place which protects against individual catastrophic events going over specified dollar amounts. So there's a lot of things that the carriers do behind the scenes with the providers to capitate costs. You know, an example might be multiple premature childbirths, you know, quadruplets or whatever, with complications. There's already a fixed dollar limit placed on most of those situations, so it's unlikely that those claims would go much beyond a couple $1 million. You know, the largest claims we see in the industry are early hospital type stuff. It's children with birth defects or preemies or something like that. Transplants typically don't even go much beyond $1 million these days. So it's not like it's going to double your premium.
Thank you.
Let's see. Page 14, the pre-existing condition. Right now, currently, on your plan, any child under the age of 19 that's added has a pre-existing condition waiver, but effective 1/1/14, waiver of pre-existing conditions is totally off the table. So you could hire an individual that has multiple medical issues and they would be covered day one. And that's going to be true with all plans that are sold 1/1/14 moving forward. There at the bottom of that page is a little snippet about clinical trial participants in the past. Carriers have frowned on your employees participating in non-FDA approved, non-AMA approved type of services relative to cancer and other life-threatening diseases. If you were to have somebody that participated in one of these clinical trials, it will not void their normal coverage. It'll still remain intact. Page 15, limits on cost sharing. On your next renewal, there's going to be caps, government caps placed on maximum out-of-pockets. The small group employers are going to have caps on deductibles, but you're not going to be faced with that. But the out-of-pocket maximums will apply. And what that's going to look like is $6,350 for a single, or $12,700 if someone has family coverage or dependents coverage. So that's an out-of-pocket cap. They're not going to regulate your deductible. With your current arrangement on the healthcare savings account, you have your upfront deductible, and then there's co-insurance or co-pays that could apply until you hit these maximum out-of-pocket caps. So in other words, they're going to make sure that you just don't put a catastrophic plan in place. We've got some protected parameters in place here. At the bottom of that page really doesn't apply to the county. These are rules that prohibit discrimination in favor of highly compensated employees. On page 17, this is just a snippet about wellness programs. Some employers offer premium incentives or premium reductions for employees that participate in wellness programs past certain health standards. We don't have anything like that in place, but if the county were to opt to do something like this in the future, they're just saying in 2014 there can be a 30% cost differential between your healthy and your sick if you want to establish a government-approved program in that regard. And the last sentence in that second paragraph really kind of sums up everything in this Affordable Care Act. More guidance is expected in the future.
Who's going to provide that guidance?
Well, here's what we're faced with. The government puts out thousands of pages of this information and says, here's the health reform, the ACA, Affordable Care Act. And the carriers and employers go back and pose questions to the government, and their favorite answer is additional guidance to follow. So what we have throughout this whole ACA is we have pending rules, we have pending final rules, we have final rules, we have modified final rules, and we have additional guidance to follow on everything. That's what we're up against. So,
That's the right question.
yeah, we get updates sometimes daily, but pretty much weekly. This document that we've got here before us has changed about 14 times in the last 30 days, I know. Research fees, page 18. Kind of down there in that second paragraph, just so you'll know, another thing that's going to drive your premiums up a little bit. The government takes $1 multiplied times the average number of lives covered under your plan for a year, and you pay $1 per covered person. October, anything that renews October 1st to 14 or after, it goes to $2 a head. And that's not an employee, that's per covered person or per belly button on your plan. If you flip over then to the next page, 19, there's a reinsurance fee that's imposed by the government that runs for a 3-year period. it's $5.25 per covered person, or $63 a year. The fees calculated and multiplied times the average number of covered lives. These are fees that are paid by the insurance company on your behalf. That it's something that's just, it's built in. So in other words,
It's passed on, so we pay for it.
right, you pay for it. It's not something that you pay separately to the government. The next page, the additional Medicare tax, not an issue for the county employees. And then over on page, well, at the bottom of page 20, we're kind of getting into the meat of some stuff now. The employer penalties for not offering the required coverages. So keep in mind, these are the rules for the 50-plus employers. So when you go over to page 21, that second paragraph, there's a penalty amount for not offering coverage up to $2,000 for each employee, excluding the first 30. That's if you don't offer coverage. Then it describes the penalties if your coverage is unaffordable or doesn't provide the minimum value. And unaffordable coverage is a $3,000 penalty. But then when they work through these formulas, the maximum is ultimately comes back to the $2,000 per employee, excluding the first 30.
Who decides if it's unaffordable?
The government, and there's 3 safe harbors that we're going to get into. I think maybe, yeah, in another page or two, we'll address that. So what they're talking about here, affordable minimum essential benefits with these minimum values, and the insurance companies will run the calculators and tell you what percentage of actuarial value your plan is. So in the future, you're going to be hearing terms such as bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Those are 60, 70, 80, and 90% actuarial value type plans, which you have to have
Wait a
calculated.
minute, now start that again. You lost me on the,
Okay, this is government terminology that they've come up with. The government wants to assess the so-called actuarial value of the plan that you offer your employees. So the most basic plan, which they would describe as bronze, would have to meet their 60% actuarial equivalency test, which in the real short definition of that is that it would cover about 60% of all the claims submitted. But it's more involved in that, because you have to plug in deductible, co-insurance, co-pays, out-of-pocket caps. You have to plug all this information into this calculator, and then it spits out the percentage that your plan is. So we've got the calculator if anybody wants them. The bottom line is the insurance carriers will run them, and they'll tell you. So the plan that the county has in place now is well above the 60%. I already know that. But to give you an idea what one of these 60% plans looks like, it could be a $5,000 deductible per person with everything subject to that deductible before anything's covered. Prescriptions, office visits, anything other than wellness. And it could have an out-of-pocket cap of $6,350 a person and $12,700 per family per year. So that's what your bronze or 60% plan could look like, subject to change between now and January 1. Minimum essential benefits, you'll hear that term. It's 10 or 11 items that the government spelled out that has to be included in your plan. Essentially everything that they're talking about in that list is already in your plan. So when we renew January 1 of 14, there will be very little, if any, modification that would have to be made to your contract. Page 22, second paragraph. Government is now going to define a full-time employee as any employee that's working at least 30 hours a week. The expanded definition includes and/or 130 hours a month over a specified measurement period. And the bottom half of this page talks a little bit about measurement periods, but moving forward, most employers, and every employer's situation is a little bit different, but there's going to be three basic types of employees that you may or may not have. One is a known full-time employee. They're working 40 hours a week. Their job description says it's full-time. The second would be a seasonal employee, and they're exempt from having to be offered affordable care. Right now, the government definition of a seasonal employee is someone that works for a season of 120 days or less. It's not anticipated that they would ever become full-time. Summer help, something like that. The government has been asked, what if somebody works 121 or 122 days? And they're applying something similar to reasonable and prudent type test because they don't have a lot of hard and fast answers relative to that. And then it brings us to the third category, which is kind of new terminology via the government, and that's a variable hour employee. And that's someone that is going to work more than 120 days a year. They may now currently be working 30, 32, 37 hours a week, and they're not considered full-time. So you're going to have to almost immediately start tracking hours of part-time people. It's something every employer is going to have to get a handle on, because if you don't, then you're going to have what you think are part-time employees. They're going to come into Greg's office January 1, and they're going to say, hey, Greg, sign me up for the benefits because I understand I'm a full-time employee. I've been working 30 hours a week since June of 2013.
Is that the drop dead date? Or is that
June or July,
for you?
1st of July is the absolute last day that you should have something in place. But I would say it would be better if there's a way that the county can start tracking hours in June. That would be preferred, because you're going to have kind of an interim or a transitional type measurement period for 2013. You don't actually have to specify what your measurement period is going to be for this year. It's almost by default. So then in 2014, the county could specify up to a 12-month measurement period. So you've got the whole year to look and track hours and make adjustments so that people won't hit that 30-hour threshold, which you may have read some of this in the newspaper where large companies have come out and said, we've just reduced all or the majority of our workforce to 29 hours. Well, that's why, because your so-called part-time people are not entitled to benefits. And I know I've had some discussions with some employers that depend on 32 to 37 hour week people. I mean, that's what their model's built around, and they're going to have to change it. They're going to have to make some adjustments. So I think this is probably an area that would have some effect on the county.
We need to be sending out a notice to the department heads.
I thought we did.
Did we, Greg? Did we already send a notice to them?
I'm not sure.
We were supposed to do that.
Yeah, I thought we already did it, but we better, we talked about this at the beginning of the year, but we probably should send them a reminder that this date's coming up and we need to start making the next adjustments.
Right, you should have records of hours now. We might want to personally go talk to them. We probably want to personally go talk to the people that have already.
Well, don't you really, well, we're kind of getting off here.
And if you need some assistance on some formats or electronically pre-fillable spreadsheets of sales and track, I can email those to Greg if you want some samples to look at. On page 23,
the affordability feature, there's 3 safe harbors the government says you can use, and they're the second, third, and fourth squares designated there at the top of the page. So premium can't exceed 9.5% of an employee's W-2 wages. The second one is affordability, equal or lower to 9.5% of their computed monthly wages. Or the third one, self-only coverage does not exceed 9.5% of the federal poverty level for a single individual. The government has these poverty level charts, and basically what they intend to do, effective January 1 of 14, if you're within 133% of poverty level and you don't have an affordable employer plan or your own private insurance, you'll be put on Medicaid, which is basically welfare. And then 134% to another range, there's some subsidy, tax credits, premium credits, which mostly apply to individuals that work for the 2 to 49 type employers. So those are the 3 safe harbors. The first one, the W-2, is how do you track that? How do you get somebody to bring in a W-2 and look at their household earnings? Could create a problem. I think most employers are going to go with 9.5% of whatever you're paying that employee. And just to give you a real quick, simple example so you can kind of establish some numbers. If you had a minimum wage person, $7.25 an hour right now, working 30 hours a week, $7.25 times 30 hours times 0.095 is $20.66 a week. That's passes the affordability test. Okay, so keep in mind, the government says coverage for the employee only has to be affordable. It's just a must offer to dependents. It doesn't have to be affordable to dependents. Okay, so that's the minimum that you're faced with. And what I think a lot of employers are going to do, regardless of size, but especially in the 50-plus market, they're going to offer 2 plans. They're going to offer the minimum essential 60% actuarial equivalent plan, and then they're going to offer their normal plan that may be structured around the same premium cost, same employee premium cost as it is now. So there'll be options there to keep you in compliance so that the county wouldn't be paying penalties for not having the right coverage or not having affordable coverage. There's ways to address that. Let's see. The remaining features on here that we talked about on page 24, the W-2 reporting, that's only if you had 250 employees or more. And the Fair Labor Standards Act on the automatic enrollment only affects employers with 200 or more employees. So that is the quick and dirty version.
Good job.
So just a heads up. Like I say, just kind of recap all of this stuff. The main thing the county needs to be doing right now is tracking hours and just be cognizant of what you're up against, be it the part-time employee situation.
So that's the only red flag you see other than obviously an increase in premium.
Right. And as always, we'll send it out into the marketplace and get quotes. The group's experienced rated, but there's still some rate protections in place, and so on and so forth. So it's not all gloom and doom. I gave Mr. Brooks a copy of the Federal Register, and this is a multi-page document that just specifically addresses large employers, penalties, some do's and don'ts. I mean, there's some real technical stuff in here. It's not really what I call light reading. But a lot of what's in here is summarized in this document. So I just tried to hit some of the highlights or some of the high points for you.
Okay. John, do you have any questions for that?
No, but we'd like to talk about small employers, so you can figure out what my office has to do.
I got one of these for you.
Oh, great.
So, yeah. Be happy to chat. So, if you see anything in there you want any more details on, let me know. We've got now easy information. Okay.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Ron.
I think this 30-hour thing, not just as a.
He's been running up real quick.
Yeah, but I don't think it ought to be just a note to the department heads. I think it ought to be a matter of policy.
Yes.
In the motion of, then there's no confusion with the department head of.
I'll go.
Why don't we have some prepared for next meeting?
That need to be in a resolution or,
Yeah, a resolution. It should be something also adopted by the council too, since they adopt the salary ordinance.
so what, we need to pass a resolution and then take it to the council after we pass it, since they'll agree.
Right.
So you want to draft up a resolution for us?
Sure.
Next meeting, addressing that?
Yes. I
Should
will.
we have Doug Heath present the same thing to the council?
That would be the council's prerogative, I guess. They're gonna have to pay for it.
No, with Jim's out there, we could ask him.
Well, we can do that.
Well, we can ask.
Yeah, I would assume that they would want to
I
do
would
that.
think,
Yeah.
Doug would do the same thing
Yeah,
to
the
the council.
council, they would want to do that.
Yeah,
Okay. Everything you want to take care of right now?
I could do this.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, John,
Yes, sir.
I've got a person that was willing and wants to go in the planning commission, is on another board. And I nominated for the planning commission, and then he resigned after I put him on the board.
No, he'll have to resign before, because he's not eligible for the planning commission until, unless he doesn't have unencumbrances, I guess.
Okay, he has, he's gonna need a person to get a hold of that board and notify them. So there is a planning commission meeting tonight, it'd be good if he would sit on it. Can I make a motion that he sits on there after he, so he could sit in that tonight, listen?
Well, he's free to come to any of the meetings, because they're all public meetings, so I don't know that is a real requirement. I mean, he can't vote on anything, I'm sorry.
Can we make the appointment pending his eligibility? Effective on his eligibility?
You could do that.
If he
Because
never
he's-
became eligible, he would never be appointed.
Correct, yes, you can do that.
I can make it happen.
You could make a motion that he would be, this person would be appointed, and they would serve once they become eligible.
Just that way.
Right.
All right. I want to make a motion that we appoint Harry Diamond to the planning commission, and it would come effective after he becomes eligible. Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on the floor to appoint Harry Diamond to the Plan Commission pending his eligibility. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Hey, Greg, here is his contact information.
So until he becomes eligible, he really can't, he can go to the meetings, he can't participate as a board member. He can observe.
Well, he said he wouldn't anyway, because he just got on board and he wants to be there. He said there's a opening.
Well, he really should sit out in the audience
Okay.
until he's eligible.
Okay. I got a question, Mike, on that.
Jim,
Okay.
you have to go to the microphone or we won't have.
Can I just say it right here, is it okay?
Go to the microphone so it picks up who you are and what you're asking. So it's on the recording.
I just wanted to ask on that appointment, he's currently with the library, is that the deal?
That's correct.
And when does his term expire on the library?
2014.
So,
Or until he resigns.
okay, so in other words, he has no voting rights until that time?
Correct.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
until he resigns.
Yeah, I say until he resigns or determine, just like you said, or term is up. Okay. Thank you.
He requested that doesn't make it to paper, but he'll get it done before he print tomorrow. He wanted to talk to him in person.
All right, public records, Nancy Carney.
Hi, can you hear me? Gentlemen, my name is Nancy Carney, as many of you know, and I live in Sharpsville, Indiana, and I want to first state that although you are fairly familiar that I'm associated with the CRD, when I speak in front of you, unless it's wind energy related, I'm speaking as a private citizen, so this is not anything to do with CRD. For several months, many of us have been trying to get various meeting minutes as well as miscellaneous claims loaded onto the Tipton County website. At the last meeting, you stated you would leave the decision up to the auditor about making the claims available, which is puzzling since the claims are made against the Tipton County Board of Commissioners, approved and signed by this board, and this board determines what can and cannot be included on the county website. It is your decision. Since the last meeting, I have done additional research and found the following. First of all, I can arrive at the auditor's office and ask to review the miscellaneous claims. If so, then at that time, the auditor would need to proceed with the timely redaction process that he asserts is the reason why the claims cannot be on the website. I can choose to receive copies, or I can ask to review the information, and then I would not pay for copies. In either case, as soon as the first person asks for either of those options, it is then that the so-called redaction process would need to be completed. If the auditor's excuse is that he has to redact certain items in the documents, then once he has done so, then it would be nothing out of his way to provide a copy to be placed on the website. As a matter of fact, any of you could do it, and it wouldn't even be a job that he would have to handle. Making this information readily available on the website would be a service to the community. There have been comments several times asking if other counties do this as a service. Why is it so important to compare us to what other counties are doing? The miscellaneous claims reports were available on the Tipton County website for several years up until 2011. And then, for some reason, that practice was stopped. Could you provide me with the record of the motion where the Board of Commissioners voted to discontinue this practice? If the board didn't vote to stop making the claims available, then who made that decision and why? In early February, both Mr. Van Bibber and Mr. Herron stated in a meeting that they had quote unquote no problem with it when it was requested to put the claims back on the website. And then there was backpedaling at the next meeting. Next is about my research regarding the redaction process. For the last few meetings, Mr. Townsend's excuse for not making the claims available on the website has been that he would need to redact certain things from the documents before making it available to the public. Since I did not understand what that would be for, I looked at a set of claims that was handed out in a meeting earlier in the year. I am assuming that all of those reports are of similar format. From that document, I couldn't see anything that would need redacted, such as social security numbers or birth dates. There are code numbers prior to the entry. To me, those are merely internal bookkeeping codes and not account numbers that would be subject to misuse of account numbers. As far as I could see, there are no numbers that could be viewed as confidential. To be sure, I contacted Mr. Joe B. Hogue in the Indiana Public Access Counselor's office. On May 13, 2013, I sent an email with a copy of the miscellaneous claims, plus the sound bites of the last meeting of my presentation and the preceding conversation that followed. In that email, I asked for Mr. Hogue to please clarify what would have needed redaction from that specific document. His response was, quote, "Under the American Public Records Act, if a public record contains disclosable and non-disclosable information, the public agency shall, upon receipt of a request under Indiana Code 5-14-3-6, separate the material that may be disclosed and make it available for inspection and copying. Thus, upon receipt of any redaction claims form, the requester will be able to determine what information has been withheld as confidential or discretionary by the citation that must be noted by the auditor. He went on to say, in previous requests submitted to the auditor in the past, what code has the auditor cited that would allow redacting information from the report? If the report contains confidential information, the county must redact the information prior to disclosure, but also cite the code that allows him to do so. I sent a follow-up to that message on May 14th. Dear Mr. Joby Hogue, thank you for such a prompt reply to my email asking questions regarding the Tipton County Auditor's responses regarding the availability of miscellaneous claims report that the County Commissioners approved and signed. You asked the following question. In previous requests submitted to the auditor in the past, what code has the auditor cited that would allow redacting information from the report? My answer, the auditor has never specifically said what it is he wants to redact other than quote-unquote account numbers. The account numbers in the miscellaneous claims report are merely internal bookkeeping accounting numbers and are not personal accounting numbers of the vendor. He stated, if the report contains confidential information, the county must redact the information prior to the disclosure. But the auditor, in doing so, must also cite the code that allows this. My answer, I have attached a copy of a Tipton County Board of Commissioners miscellaneous claims report for you to look at. The number prefixes are merely internal accounting codes. I would appreciate it if you could tell me by looking at that report what would qualify by being redacted. It appears to me that there are no Social Security numbers, birth dates, or any other personal information that would need redacted. Mr. Hogue replied this back to me on May 15th. Nancy, in reviewing this record, I am not aware of what information would be considered confidential and would require the auditor to redact prior to disclosure. However, the burden would be on the auditor to demonstrate that the redacted information falls within a category that would require redaction prior to disclosure. Joe Hogue, Public Access Counselor. Basically, this all means that I'm tired of getting the runaround and having this issue bounce back and forth and being given issues that are bogus. I do not appreciate being told that the reason the reports cannot be put on the website is due to all this redaction nonsense, only to find out that there's nothing in the report that is confidential, and that if there is, then the auditor would have to cite the code that gives him the right to withhold that information. I would like a decision to be voted on today that would allow a copy of the miscellaneous claims be available on the website within 48 hours after they are approved. This is a reasonable request for transparency of public records. This is a practice that has been done in the past. This would be a generous service that you could provide to citizens of Tipton County. Please respond to this issue once and for all. Thank you. And I have a copy for each one of you of what I just said.
You guys have any comments?
I guess my comment is I'll say the same thing. I mean, Greg has said he will furnish anybody a hard copy if they come to his office, and I expect him to do that. If he wants to put it on the website, I'll back him that way. If he wants to do it the hard copy way, I will back him that way.
The document itself specifies the Indiana code for redaction. So it's common knowledge from even this information is provided today.
Is this the document that you would provide? The one we just signed this morning?
It's possible.
That's what you give them if they come and ask, isn't it?
Most likely. Yes, I would review it to see if there's anything, if there are any items on there that would
Can I say something?
Just wait, just, at what point is this document public record?
Well, the information on it's public record, that particular document itself is not a public record because it's used by you for deliberation. Once you adopt it, the claim information is a public record.
Once it's signed?
Once the claim form is signed, it becomes a public record.
But we are not required to put it on the website.
No, you're not.
And I would support Greg in that. If he doesn't want to do it, doesn't have the time to do it, then we don't do it. We don't do it.
It was inferred by Mrs. Carney that do we have the power to direct it?
You're
Or
in
is
control.
this-
You're in control of the website. The content is the county's, you're the executive of the county. So you can decide what's on the website. So you could direct that.
So we could or could not
You could.
authorize it, but then it would be Greg's, whether he sends it to them, then would be his decision? Whether he sends it to the website?
No, you're in control of the website. So the information would go on the website. It would be up to your IT person to put it on the website.
But to physically put it on?
Yes.
Do we have the power to demand this?
Yes, you do.
This put on, okay.
Can I interject with a comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I'm really trying to figure out why there's so much resistance in this simple request. I'm just trying to ask that these are available to all of the citizens so that those people that cannot come and stand in line nor hear what we're talking about have access. I mean, I think it was 190 something or so, whatever of the claims that were today. I have no clue what is on that list. And as a private citizen, I would like to see that list. And it isn't any harder for Greg or anybody else to hand a simple copy of this to Mr. Steen and have him put it on the website. And it's not that hard to put it on the stinking website. I don't understand why this is being such a resistance that is happening here. Thank you.
Any more comment before we move on?
Well, I think the issue needs to be put to bed today. You know, I don't see any point in talking about this, every 2 weeks. Here's my only comment. I tend to agree that there is no reason in the world that this document couldn't go on the website or just be thrown out today after we approve it. Jim, I don't need I'm not here to get an audience or approval. But by the same token, I am not going to direct Greg to put it on the website. But that's, or I won't make the motion to do that. So that's just the way I feel about it. But I guess if somebody wants to see my copy every week, I just,
Well, they have access. They can go to the auditor's office and receive this in it. For instance, this first claim right here, that's on the website. What is it? You don't have a clue.
well, you
No
know.
one will have a clue
Right, other
what
than-
it's even about.
Right, other than I just have to personally know, but yeah, I know, I see
Right.
what you mean, yeah.
So then you need to see the claim. You know, to even understand what the thing says.
None of those really tell, none of the claims on that paper that we actually say what the claim is.
Okay. No action, right?
Well, the only thing I would disagree with that, Phil, is if I didn't know if I personally didn't know what the claim was, then I wouldn't vote for it. But I see what you mean. You
put
don't
that on
see
the internet,
the accompanying
nobody,
document.
like that first one Mike just talked about, you put it on the website, there's gonna be none of the citizens out there, nobody's gonna know what that claim's for. We know because we saw the claims earlier and we investigated what the claims were. All right, what's that gonna do to his office?
See, we know that that's a refund to that person.
I understand.
But the average person,
I mean,
looking at that on the website would have no clue what that is associated with,
I mean,
what it is.
I'll agree, there's no claim on there that's gonna hurt anything that I can see, anything to say. But it is his office, and I'm not gonna vote against his
And
office.
and it
unless
is
somebody
public
convinces me
record.
it needs-
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it is
public record, and they can go see any of the claims anytime they want to, or at least the report.
Go ahead and Mike.
Okay, do you think it's reasonable for you that you could have these available in 48 hours? Just from
If
those-
someone makes a request, yeah, to
He
see
could run a hard
yes,
copy now.
I can have them available fairly quickly, yes.
All right. Okay, that's all I can.
Jim?
Okay, simply said, he makes out in 48 hours a copy, he hands it to Steve, and Steve puts it on the internet. I don't quite understand what the big problem is here. I know what you were saying, we're not gonna understand exactly what the claim was paid out, but they're not asking for that. They're asking for it to be put on the internet, on the website, so everybody can see it. If they got a question about it, I guess they have to call somebody and ask, gee, this claim is what? It's that simple. And that's the answer to what you said, Jim. I'm not looking for whatever. All I'm asking you, and I agreed with you on Joe, is it's real simple procedure. We're asking, Greg, when he fills out the paperwork, turn it over to Steve and put it on the website. That's all. Just that simple.
Bob Edinger, are all the individual claims available to be looked at?
It should be, yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it should be yes.
There would have, there may have, on the, you're talking about the actual claim signed by the individual, you're talking about the bill from the provider, or both?
Both.
Those should be, those are available for public record, but there may have to be some information redacted off some of those.
Right, because you could have,
Could have some identifying information on those, depending on the nature of the claim.
So a person would be able to look at both of those, and that would what, be blacked out or whatever?
Yes,
yes.
So you'd be looking at the actual documents
yes,
with your dash.
those are public record, right?
Thank you.
That's a function that would have to take place in the office. Okay, all right. Is Christina Summers here? Not coming today? All right.
I had some questions for Christina on that ordinance anyway, so
Okay.
we were gonna meet after this. I gotta meet with Steve Edson about the, he's a building ordinance too, so.
Okay. What else on our agenda? We not
If
covered?
it's his taxes,
Okay,
That'd
Greg?
be trackers, I think, so.
Where did we go?
French usual for that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
Hi, it's Greg. Good, Debbie, thanks for coming down to the work commissioners meeting. Thank you.
Greg, what's the deal about the SRI tax sale?
There's a modification to the contract because they're increasing by $5 the cost.
This is for the sheriff's sales,
Yes, for tax sale.
tax sales.
Yeah. It's a $5 per parcel increase in the fee. The state had required some additional work to be done related to tax sales, and SRI is asking for a one-time increase to that agreement. They said 2014 was returned to the 2012 levels, $70 per parcel.
They want just.
And they're bumping it to 75.
75 for this 1 year only.
The legislature changed some of the rules in the budget bill. There are going to be some changes coming July 1. especially for tax sale properties that are in what we used to call the C sale or commissioner sale, that don't sell, that come to the county. You then start notifying the incorporated towns in your community as to properties that are in their towns, to see whether they want them to transfer the tax title or the tax sale certificate to them to pursue. So that's one of several different changes that the legislature put in the whole process.
So we just needed to raise it to $75 for the one-year contract.
We just need to, 2013 to adopt this addendum.
Up there, isn't it?
Page 2.
Okay, I guess I'll make a motion that we adopt the tax sale support services addendum, which increases the fee $5 for the year 2013.
We have a motion second on the floor to accept this tax sale support services addendum from SRI Services. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do you have a copy for us?
Yes.
Did you get one of Debbie?
Debbie's right there. There's Debbie right there. So you come in. Not very well. Yes, I could use it, but it didn't help it. Hey, Joe.
Debbie?
Yes, I had an incident about a week ago where I had taken an article to the post office and had it delivered to be delivered to Indianapolis to the Court of Appeals. And they have lost that package. I sent it certified with return receipt and signature confirmation, and the package is nowhere to be found. It made it out of Tipton, headed to the sort facility, but it was never logged in there. So what I wanted to see is if I could set up an account with either FedEx or UPS for larger packages like that, to be able to mail them that way, rather than possibly having this happen again.
Why can't they just come to your office and pick the stuff up?
Well, they can, but I have to have a way to pay for that. So I figured I would have to set up an account with them, and then I would assume that it would be paid out of the postage
Is that
line.
our responsibility for her to set up an account?
I would think it would,
Because it would be,
I was asking anybody, I guess.
I would think it would just be out of your postage budget, and however you decide to do those things would be.
It is.
Doesn't have a due process though.
How's that gonna help so you don't lose the package again?
well, I'm just hoping I get better service. I mean, I'm hoping that
Same company's doing it, FedEx is doing it, isn't it?
it's FedEx, I mean, I did it through the post office.
Okay.
Yeah, I had done it through the post office, and we've had numerous issues where certified mailings, we've not gotten, return receipts and such, and so we've had to go over there and they've had to search for us. But this one, in this instance, it's just gone, and they have no idea where it is.
I don't care.
So,
Yeah, I don't think it's our decision.
Yeah, that's up to you, that's what's going to do. So,
Well,
Greg, I'll
technically,
support you.
you're the executive, so all the accounts are in the name of the county technically. So you can give her permission to do it, she can set it up and runs it through her postage.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to do that?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we give Debbie permission to set up a separate account and pay for it out of your postage line item.
I just didn't want to set up a credit account.
Second, now do we, what, are we going to set up a separate account for every office holder here? Is that? I don't think this is all right. It just seems to me like we're creating this. You would think there would be one county postal,
Yes, you would, wouldn't you?
where every department pulled out, that would wait.
Okay, we have a motion second on the floor.
Budget time, you can do that, but you get to do this budget time.
So you'll bring it up at budget time before we vote on it? Okay, we have a motion second on the floor then to give the clerk permission to set up an account with FedEx or UPS. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
What's the status of the two depositories out here on the west side? Do we just rent them space? Do they just show up?
I don't know, I think they set them there.
I think they did that as a convenience, right?
Yeah, and I just spoke with the UPS delivery guy on the way down, and he said they pick up right about 4:30. So if I have a larger package that won't fit in the box, I can wait for him to come and pick it up. And that way it's secure.
This permission was from FedEx or UPS.
Yeah, she mentioned both, so.
I'm going to see which one is more reasonably priced. I didn't know if you touched on my floor yet. You had approved it, but it needed to.
I think we've got room in that edit line.
Courthouse renovation. Good with it.
We already gave her approval.
We gave her approval, but didn't hold on, but didn't tell her to, okay, the contract.
It was $1,107.
Yeah, do you know what it was?
I've got it, but I don't have it.
It's in my last.
Can I go ahead and
I would do the minutes, yes.
Yeah, that's all right. I know it was.
go ahead and schedule
But we
it?
need a motion, tell her to go ahead, don't we?
Yep.
I'll make a motion, we give Debbie approval to go ahead with the estimate she had to have the floor fixed. And we'll take it out of courthouse renovation.
Second.
As I recall, the last time it was, you didn't have a problem with it, you just wanted to know where you're gonna pay for it.
Right. Okay, we have a motion second on the floor then to allow the clerk to move forward with getting the floor fixed and the money will come out of courthouse renovation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Glad you asked, I forgot.
I forgot.
All right, that's everything on the agenda. Joe, you have anything else?
Just one thing, and I think you were both copied on it from the assessor. There was some question about, we have some vendors, or not necessarily vendors, but people that do work for the county that aren't current on their assessment or their property tax. I just think we ought to come up with a resolution where we, for lack of a better word, right now, we don't do business with people that aren't current on their taxes or their assessment. And I think it was
We can
some
do
people
that.
that are resistant to coming in and filing their personal property where they're not on
We can do that without a resolution, we just not award them any contracts.
Yeah, and that's an area that the assessor needs to let us know who these individuals are.
I think we just have her direct, give us a list of the people that are not, then we can.
The only problem with that, then we're acting after the fact. We're acting after the fact.
Well, we are anyway, until we have that information. If we have that information before we enter into an agreement with them, then we're fine. If that information is given to us after the fact, then you've already hired.
I agree, but I'm talking about other department heads that are hiring people under the understanding that everything's fine, and they get the claim, and then you find out afterwards, so.
But are you going to deny that claim because they're?
No one hired them, so.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to declare, but I do have something to hang my hat on by saying, this was the policy.
What do you recommend, Joe?
Well, I think you could certainly do a resolution, it would be a statement of policy. And as a statement of policy, then it could be used to void contracts or somebody is in violation of the statement of policy.
Okay, well,
So I can have a resolution prepared for it for next meeting.
sure.
Yeah, we don't have to.
Thank you.
Anything else, Chuck?
I don't think so.
Phil? Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. Questions from the audience?
Yes.
Comments?
We're not talking debate windows.
Who not?
So,
Hi, guys, my name's John West.
I don't.
You guys were elected to represent the citizens of Tipton County. Nancy made a very valid request. You should act on it. I can't see why you would not. I mean, the citizens of Tipton County are who elected you. And we would like, the citizens of Tipton County would like you to represent us. I just can't imagine. She's put a ton of work into what she's done, and for you to just blow her off, that's irresponsible. I can't see that you can't act on her request. I mean, other counties, Howard County, Miami County, DeKalb County, they all do that. Why are we trying to make it hard for our citizens? I don't understand, you know? I mean, who elected you? Look at that, you know? I think you need to reconsider your efforts here.
Well, every request that comes before us, we do not have to grant, nor do maybe we think it's wise to grant. So that is left up to our decision.
It is, I agree. I'm not denying that at all.
And that's what took place this morning.
Greg is a citizen also, and he is an office holder. I do not believe we need to direct him something that he strongly believes not doing. If I told you to do something you didn't like to do, you would not be happy, but you're not happy with me anyway, but you wouldn't be happier.
I'm not this happy with you.
So-
I think you guys have a hard job.
My opinion is, he is an office head, and it's an elected office also. It's the same thing as Debbie. She's an office holder, and if she wants to do it in her office, it is not my job to micromanage the other office holders. I will support them unless I have a strong reason not to support them, and I see no reason not to support Greg Townsend. That's my thought.
Second issue. I've yet to come up with any kind of a plan of spending the economic development money that EON gave us to spend it over in the wind farm area. I'd like to see us come up with a plan to spend that money over in Windfall area to develop economics. That's what it's for, and that's where it should be spent. You know, the people over there are the ones that are having to live with it, and they're the ones that need that money to come over there and improve their town, their community, a new fire engine, pay for the books that go, for the kids that go to school in Wildcat District. You know, something to show them that we, the people of Tipton County, care about what we've just done to them. Done to them in the fact that we are getting lots and lots of people that are saying that they do not like what's happening up there. You know, I didn't see EON coming up with money to help the people that got flooded out. So I would like the commissioners to come up with a plan to spend that money over in Wildcat. You know, they need things. They need fire protection because we can't land helicopters over there. So they need a EMT. You know, they need some things, and this money could be used for that. I'd like you guys to consider putting a plan together to spend that money over there. Thank you.
If anybody has any suggestions, hey, we're open to, you know, so that money is there to use for the county.
Well, I just gave you three. Buy a fire engine, hire an EMT, pay for the school books for the kids from Wildcat. You know, I mean, there's three suggestions right there. You know, I mean, those people over there really do not like what's happening to them.
Well, that's interesting, because I've had one call, you say you're representing them all in your comments. I've had one person call.
I understand that, and we're trying our best to correct that, and we are. But I'm just saying that those people over there got money from Eon. We should spend it on that.
Any other comments, Bob?
Considering you had an overflow crowd today, will there be something in place next week so the people outside the room can hear?
Well, we're not gonna be here next week,
The next meeting, excuse me.
but, I don't know, if you guys wanna, on a regular basis, have things set up, a speaker or mic out in there.
Well, I don't think it needs to be set up ahead of time, but if you see there is an overflow crowd, would there be some mechanism in place for them to hear?
Speaker cable, stick another speaker up.
Yeah, I think.
We'll take a look at it, see what kind of cable does it need to get another speaker, or can you use one of these, we need to, or what?
I mean, I assume there's more cable in the world
Yeah, there
to
is.
buy.
Yeah, there is.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Madonna,
Oh, Madonna? Can you
Yes,
come over to the microphone so we can get?
May not
on?
be able to hear me then.
Yeah, well, we'll at least have you on the tape.
No, I just want to say one thing. I have been on the council now for 14 years, I guess, and we have had 5 auditors. And I want to congratulate Greg. He's doing a good job trying to catch up on things that have got way behind. So, and I don't know whether you people know how hard it is to find an auditor or people to work in that office, because it is really a difficult office and it takes a lot of time. But I did want to tell Greg that you're doing a good job and keep at it.
Hi, my name is Dan Carney. I just want to make a statement that this is not all about the website. It's not an attack on Greg. I think that in the long run, it would take some of the weight off of Greg and save him some time, so that to put the minutes or on the website, because then if he has 3 or 4 people come in and ask for a copy, he has to take time each time out of his busy schedule. I know, I mean, his job is very hard. If he just puts it on the website, probably only has to do that once, because this is an electronic world now, and most people would really enjoy having that convenience, and it would, I believe, it would save Greg time in the long run. And time is an issue with Greg, and I understand that.
it may come to that, yeah.
That's my only comment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. We have a motion second on the floor to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Hey, how's everyone working?
You too. At least they left the lid on. Well, I thought about it. You know,